Hey artists! Welcome to another video. Today I'm painting another great blue heron. This is part of a mini series that I recently completed. So much fun painting one of my favorite birds of all time with a couple fun elements that I really want to give myself an opportunity to explore more. And that's basically the use of texture, like a nice grungy sort of destroyed texture, and some metallic gold paint. I love this combination, and especially when I pair it with one of my favorite birds. Oh, so much fun. So while I'm bringing this painting to life, I wanted to talk about something kind of fun. And basically what that is art rules that I'm breaking. We have all of these, well, they're self-imposed, but a lot of times it's these kind of vague rules that society tells you that you should be abiding by. And I'm not really about that life. I'm about taking a good hard look at what these expectations are and asking ourselves whether or not we actually want to abide by them. And I think this is a really fun exercise to do. It's something that I personally am embracing as an artist, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. Maybe you're going to realize also that there are some rules that you are currently abiding by, and maybe you don't want to anymore. So let's jump in. The first rule that I decided that I am breaking and have broken is that you have to be a starving artist according to society. I don't know where this comes from, but it is just a terrible mindset to embrace as an artist. It's very cruel, frankly. And yeah, I have broken it and I will continue to break it. And I also encourage you to break it too. Artists do not have to be starving. I sell my artwork. I sell originals. I sell art products, prints, and I teach. Does this devalue my creativity and the beauty of being an artist? I say absolutely not. In fact, if anything, being able to make an income from my art, it allows me to step into that magic more confidently because I know my work has value, and the fact that my art makes me an income means I don't have to spend my time doing something else that isn't creative, which is going to sap my energy so that I don't even have the energy to create more artwork. I do not think that artists need to or should be starving. I think that we should be able to embrace the opportunity to make an income from our artwork if we want to, and that if you do want to, it does not devalue your work or your creativity or the magic of being an artist. I think it actually kind of heightens it away because you can't deny the fact that if you are able to actually make an income from your artwork, you don't have to spend your time working another job. And I've been there working a job that has sapped all of my energy, and I'm to the moon and back thankful that that is not my life anymore, that I actually get to spend my days creating artwork. It is the most beautiful version of a life I can think of, and the fact that I was able to say yes to that life is the most amazing thing. And I think way more artists should aspire to stop being a starving artist and to define, their art career the way they want to, instead of what society tells us that we should do. So the next art rule that I am breaking is the rule of paint what others want to see, not what you want to create. I disagree. If you ask me, this is a fast one-way ticket into burnout city and then forging a nasty relationship with the art process. So here's the thing. Creating art feels like a magical connection with your innermost self in a way. And when you only create art for the sake of others, that passion is gonna fade super fast. Yeah. Do I paint the the things that people want from me? Sure. I take commissioned artwork, and you bet that I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure the client loves that work. But I also dictate the kind of commissions I take, and I'm able to say a graceful no to the things that don't align with me. And I'm also making sure that I balance the work art, like commissions, with me art. And this keeps my creativity well nice and full. It keeps that magic in the art process, and it makes it so much more fun. And I find that because I do give myself the opportunity to create the art that I want to, that magic ends up bleeding into the rest of my artwork too. So even with my commissioned artwork that, comes from a very strict guideline from a client, I am still the one that is dictating what kind of commissions I take, what kind of subjects, what kind of style. And that way, those commissions, they feel magical to me still. And that is such a beautiful, beautiful thing that I really wish more artists would do and stop just creating art from what other people want to see, rather than creating what you actually want to create. So the final art rule that I'm breaking, in a nutshell, is this: that practice makes perfect. I have a bit of a weird relationship with the word perfect, and I personally think is because I think the construct of what perfect is a terrible thing to aspire to, and it honestly does nothing but hold you back. And this practice, practice, practice mentality with the hopes that someday you'll reach that mythical level of perfection is exhausting, because perfection is not something that you will ever reach. Really, when you think about it, it's kind of a mythical thing, because what you consider to be perfect, someone else is going to deem completely imperfect, and vice versa. You might put out a new piece of artwork where you're, unhappy with, and someone else might look at that and think it is the perfect piece. So I'm saying no to striving for perfection, and instead, practice makes progress. Progress is, in my opinion, so much more empowering than perfection, because perfection is a pedestal that we will never actually reach. And even if you do reach a point where you think this is perfect, my skill level is perfect, we're always evolving, and that target is always moving. And I personally don't find it to be very helpful at all. So instead of practice makes perfect, practice makes progress, or practice makes permanence. So you practicing your skills is going to lock them deep down inside in your artistic muscle memory, and you're going to be, able to build on that constantly, always getting better and better and better. And that is so much more valuable, in my opinion, than the construct of what perfection is. And there's another thing to consider here, that sometimes practice actually makes you realize that something isn't working, and forcing it isn't working. So striving for that perfection, you might just use that as your end goal. And sometimes we can learn from the things that aren't working. And if you recognize that something isn't working, this isn't a failure. This is progress towards finding out what actually makes your heart sing as an artist. So this little reframe on the concept of perfection is clearly something I think about a lot. And I think a lot more artists and creatives and people in general could benefit from, taking a good hard look at that concept of perfection and really analyzing what it does for us. And in most cases, you're probably going to learn that it's more harmful than good. And recognizing that gives you an opportunity to change your mindset about seeking perfection and instead striving for progress, which is just so much more valuable than that moving target of perfection, especially since, like I said before, what might be perfect to you isn't to someone else, and vice versa. So it really makes you question what perfection even is. So that brings us to the end of this video. Hopefully these 3 art rules that I'm breaking have inspired you to take a look at the art rules that you might be abiding by. And sometimes you might look at them and say, oh, okay, this actually does work for me, and that's great. Or you might recognize that, this, mindset, this rule that I think has to be a thing, maybe it doesn't. So hopefully you feel a little inspired to take a look at the way that you've always done things and, maybe break a couple of rules. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Now, if you're craving more help and want the full real-time tutorial complete with my voice walking you through every single moment, paint mixing recipes, reference photos, and more, I think you will love the Wildlife Painting Academy. New tutorials are added each month, and it truly is your secret weapon for learning how to paint realistic wildlife easily. You can check it out in the description of this video.